what we're doing.
Okay, good. Oh, that's very, very nice.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, it's Susan.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm having trouble with my Zoom account, so I called in.
Well,
Apparently
I called in too. You know,
Apparently I have to do an upgrade, and they wanted to do it now, and I thought that was not a great idea.
Yeah. Now, does it cost you extra money to do the upgrade?
No,
Okay.
it's just a question of time. Apparently I was supposed to do it over the weekend, but I didn't.
Oh. Now, are all of your kids fine in California?
Yes, everybody's good, thank you. Our daughter has been working in the hospital, the animal hospital there, where she's a vet, and they have over 350 staff there. It's a very large facility. And
Wow.
I know, she's one of 50 vets. So
oh my gosh.
It's a huge operation, but she came down with some symptoms and recently had to get tested, which was negative, so that's good. But
good.
she's been going in the whole time. Otherwise, everybody's fine. Thank you.
Good.
How about yours?
Mine are all in New Mexico with cabin fever.
Oh.
And whenever any of their friends visit, they put them on, they get them on horses and they go out and ride the fence, keep the fences fixed.
Yep.
So they're keeping themselves busy.
Yeah.
And they're learning how to hunt and learning how to fish and ride horses. So that's keeping them off the street.
Those are good things to do. You can be outside for all of that. So
yes.
Better than being
there's not many people in Lincoln County. I mean, it's about 10,000 population for an area that's half the size of New England.
Oh, really?
Hi, Leslie.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi, everybody.
I just got to. John and Susan join us by phone, so they don't. I just saw you. They can see if you log in. she's
I'm
in.
here. Yeah, I'm here.
Terrific.
Paulina, do we have a quorum?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
You only have 3 people. That's why I was got nervous because Leslie wasn't in.
Yeah, you don't have everybody yet.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm looking for the agenda.
Yeah, it's just only 2 things there that we have to pass it today. Like to pass it. I mean, to vote on it. I don't know. Susan said she has a hard time to log in, so I don't know if somebody else and it just.
Apparently Zoom sent out a required update over the weekend, and that
Yes.
if you didn't complete that, apparently you did, Leslie. I didn't, so it wouldn't let me in video-wise, so I had to call in. But calling in is certainly an option.
Basically, when they sent you the mandatory update, you should have been able to just click and boom, it would take it into you. It would just automatically update you.
Well, it didn't
So what
quite
does it
happen
take?
that way.
While? Yeah. Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
Angus, huh?
Oh,
Angus is in.
Good.
Hi, Angus.
One more.
One more, yeah. First one.
8 people have said they were available today, so we should have.
By the way, does
Can't we
anybody...
take one of our towns and divide it in 2 and then?
Well, I'm ground zero, so no one wants to divide me into 2. But does anybody know how Virginia is doing?
Joan usually does. So when Joan calls in, we can ask her.
And I was
Does anybody
wondering the
else?
same thing.
Yeah, well, usually Joan is the, she promised to keep us updated.
Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. I'd like to call the special meeting of Ninetown Transit to order at 1:47 p.m. Pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Susan,
For
did I
roll
make a
call,
mistake?
I'm gonna ask, Joe or Helena to do that for me, because I can't see everybody.
Okay.
Roll call, yes, we have a quorum. So I've
Okay.
taken the roll call.
All righty.
Okay, thank you. And on our agenda, we have member roll call, we're done. Susan Tyler, thank you. And next on the agenda is fiscal year 21 budget and the 5311 grant. Who's presenting that? Not me.
Joe, you will have, I think we email everybody budget, so you guys can have this to look at it. If you don't see on this screen, you can look and, yes, here it is. So this is our next year fiscal year, oh, not this one. Joe, click on that first one, that's the last year. Yeah, that one. 2021, the first sheet there. Joe? Yeah, that one. Yeah, okay. So, we went through all this budget with finance committee in detail with John and Peter and Susan and John and and
Charlie.
Yeah. So they went through all the stuff, and it's difficult to set up the budget because we're not sure how the next 6 months will go. So what we did here, we only put it for 6 months for revenue because we're not sure how long we will, is there another next 6 months we will charge first. So we cut the fair revenue on half. We also cut some other revenue. It's like PHP, which is we're not providing right now the Middlesex Hospital those programs, so we don't collect revenue from there. We also don't collect revenue from advertising. So what we did, we cut that we put it only for 6 months. That's on the revenue side. On the expense side, I did 3.5% increase in the core services, which is all the services, not the highlighted. Highlighted services, Shoreline Shuttle ADA and microtransit. It's I put a budget accordingly with what we submit to DOT. They've been asking us about the budget. That's what we submit to them, and that's what we ask them. So I put it there. So if you look at it, we also receive to balance the budget or the deficit. When you look at the Federal Care Act, the yellow highlights there, that's the one we balance in all the deficit on it. So the deficit from not collecting revenue, deficit not collecting from other programs, from advertising, that will balance on the Federal Care Act. When I present budget to finance committee, they pointed out they want a little bit more money for Madison Shuttle, which is Route 81. So I put an additional 11,000 there, so that bring to 15,000. And they also add some professional services like cleaning buses extra. So I put another 20,000 there. So that brought us to Federal Care Act to almost $200,000 extra for all this stuff. So we end up with budget $2,598,725. So today we need to look at this budget and vote on it to public this budget. The budget will be approved in next board meeting, and we will have public hearing. I don't know how we will do that, but by the law we have to have a public hearing, and they have to public budget in the newspaper, like all the towns do.
Helena,
Yeah.
I know the town of Chester was able to approve their budget by their Board of Finance without a public meeting because of the current situation. I'm wondering if that would apply to us as well. I mean,
I think the question to Joe. I don't know how we got to do it. Joe? Joe?
So I have not seen any changes to our statute. we have a separate statute. So the governor made exceptions for the towns, but they did not make any exceptions, to our knowledge, for transit districts.
So
No one's ever come to a meeting.
Yeah, we will
Yeah,
advertise
because we
the
can't-
news.
There's nothing that says we can't do it by Zoom. I mean, we've been allowed to do all of our meetings by Zoom, so I think we're just going to hold our public hearing by Zoom.
Okay, so we will, that's what we will advertise, that's what we will put it in when we advertise the newspaper?
Well, we'll put the date
Okay,
and,
we will.
yeah,
Yeah, so this is something new.
time, but no one's ever come to one, so
Yeah.
hopefully it won't be an issue.
So, yeah, so that will, we have public hearing before before our next board meeting in June, before the board meeting, and then after that, we will approve the budget. If we have comments, then so today we need to still look at the budget and approve for publication, public notice in the newspaper. So usually that's what we put it, that's the F. And you look at second, the budget for publication, that's what we put it. We don't put it the state budget, we put it just somebody budget, which is reflects that. So, there's any question on the budget?
No, I would like to say that the finance committee at its meeting made a recommendation to the board that we encourage the board to approve the budget.
As amended.
As amended, yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. So,
Well, in that case, is there any further discussion about the budget? I guess at this point, hearing none, we just go to a vote. Does that sound correct?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor of approving the budget as submitted and amended?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? I guess the budget's approved. Thank
for
you.
public, yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you.
It does say on the agenda resolution. Is there a resolution that we have to discuss? Or was that it? We resolved to accept the budget?
No. There's a resolution, yes.
So the
Joe?
resolution is up there, yeah, we sent it out.
There we go.
This is just
Susan?
our normal, every
You want-
4 years, we have to apply for our rural funding, and
Do you
this
want
is
me to read
required
that?
for the application.
Yeah, can you read it, Susan? Do you see it?
Yes, I do. I have a copy. Be it resolved that Leslie B. Strauss, chairman and/or in her absence or inability to act, the vice chairman, Joan Gay, having been since 2020, hereby are authorized to act on behalf of the Estuary Transit District in filing an application with the Connecticut Department of Transportation under the Federal Transit Administration, Section 5311, Non-Urbanized Area Formula Program, and negotiating and executing agreements/contracts and all appropriate and necessary contractual instruments for the aid in the financing of operating, administrative, capital, and/or technical assistance projects with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Do I need to keep reading, Joe?
No, I think you did enough.
Okay.
Usually it's as long as we read the resolve.
All right, any discussion? Yeah.
Just one comment.
Joan?
Oh, John, you mute. John, you mute. Oh,
Star six.
Last sentence, where it says in witness whereof, where it says the TH day of June. I think the TH needs to be changed to a number.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
been
yeah.
changed. We've already
Oh.
changed that to the 1st of June.
oh, okay.
All right, any other discussion?
Thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution is passed. Thank you.
Leslie,
Yes,
I have a couple of finance-related questions, not related to the budget. I wonder if I could ask them?
are these the ones that you emailed to Joe?
No, these are
Okay.
different.
All right,
This
go
is-
right,
these-
go ahead.
This is regarding the Extra Mile program. I just want to make sure I have my facts straight, Joe and Helena. As I understand it, that program started in May of 2019 at the request of the Department of Transportation. Is that correct?
It started, it started May 6th of 2019.
Okay.
And it was always supposed to be a joint project with us and DOT. So we had the initial idea. They liked the idea, wanted us to be a pilot of it, and said they were going to fund it. We offered to put up $25,000 initially, is what
Okay.
we had said.
And we have
And they were gonna fund
continued
their own.
to offer that service at no cost to riders at this point.
That is correct. That's been at DOT's request.
Okay. Number two, what's the amount that we have financed for that program for fiscal 1920?
I gotta look at it. It's around, was last time was like 80,000. So that's probably, I estimate, don't hold me there, it's around 100,000.
For the whole year?
Yes, for the year.
Okay. And then this year's budget for the Extra Mile is $309,000?
Because what we did, when we submit budget to DOT, we submit with full-time because those one is a part-time, so we include 2 full-time positions, plus we add 48 hours in a week. That's why, that's what we submit to them, so.
Okay. So what Nine-Town Transit already has into this program for the current fiscal year is roughly $100,000. And
Probably 100, because yes.
okay, there's
indeed,
another
plus we-
300,000 that
I don't think you, sorry.
there's another 300,000 that it will cost us for the following fiscal year.
Well, that's what we submit to DOT. So if they approve it, that's what we will have. We hire a full-time drivers of which is benefits with 2 full-timers.
Okay. Thank you.
And yes.
That's all I wanted to know, what the extent of our
Okay.
exposure. Okay.
Right,
Thank
and we're not adding those hours until there's money too. I mean, it really needs more. Right now, it doesn't because of, obviously because of the pandemic. It's slower, but it was at a point where we needed to have another vehicle on to keep the wait times down.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Joe, I want to follow up with Susan if I could. I mean, when was the last time you had a discussion with her friend?
Today.
Did he give you any indication of what's going to happen with this 100,000? Dennis, I should have said Dennis.
Yeah. Yes, he said they are going to find the money, and he actually called me back after our call, because I think they have a certain source in mind. So I know there's been more activity on it than there had been.
Okay.
And he also he said, I didn't have to say it, that the reason you guys weren't so sure about, because he told me again about when it came to the merger that he could easily come up with the operating costs needed. He said, all I got to do is increase your TOD. I said, yeah, but they don't trust that that's going to happen. And he said, I get it. I haven't been able to deliver on this Extra Mile, and we need to do that first, so they'll believe it. I said, exactly. So he understands that's got to come for you guys to have any faith that any of this other money is going to come in the future.
Correct.
All right.
Nice that he's gotten the message.
Yeah,
Got the
he
message.
said to me, admittedly, we have not delivered any money.
Yeah,
like we promised.
should have gotten the
Well, bully
message a while
them.
ago. In any case, Joe, I know you've sent out doodle requests for future meetings, and have you gotten any dates set aside yet? Because we should be scheduling something for our board. We have 2 meetings coming up. One is just us, and then the other is the joint. So have we gotten anything?
So we have, I just got dates at 11 o'clock this morning for Dennis, Dennis's availability. So I had to send a dual pull out on that. The other one that we had out was for something else.
Well, we want to meet privately, just as a board.
That's right. So that one, I have got 6 responses on. So June 5th at 9:30 was good for everyone who has responded so far.
All right, so June 5th is this Friday at 9:30 a.m.
June which part, Joe?
This is for us to meet before we meet with Dennis.
And this
When
is
we meet
before,
with Dennis, we're going to be meeting with him and the folks from Middletown.
No, this is just, so this is the meeting for the board to talk before we talk with Dennis. And when we talk with
That's the one
Dennis,
that's
it'll just
Friday.
be our board with Dennis. I know it's getting confusing, but yes, that's the plan.
all right, so clearly you've penciled in 9:30 this Friday at June 5th for just our board, not the DOT, not Middletown, to discuss whatever follow-up concerns we have to the report, et cetera, et cetera. And just so you all know, our board is not just the 9 towns. We have affiliate members that should be invited into this call. I think Joe and I agreed on that from a protocol standpoint, because our meetings, once we meet, are all recorded and are all open to the public. And should one of our affiliates find out that we had this meeting and not include them, there may be some hurty feelings. So to avoid that, we're saying they may attend. They may not vote on anything if we take any votes. They may not go into executive session with us, which we are putting on that agenda. Correct, Joe? Am I correct about all that?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. The next meeting will be hopefully the following week with everyone, DOT, Middletown, and us, to try to, and the COG, to try to come up with moving forward.
I don't think
plans.
that's correct, Leslie. The next,
Yeah, it was just going to be our board.
just our
and-
board and Dennis.
Yeah.
On the second meeting?
Yes.
Oh, all right, not Middletown?
Not yet.
No, I don't think they don't think they feel they need to yet.
Oh, that's fine with me. I misunderstood what that meeting was going to be. Okay, I thought it was to go over all questions and concerns about the report. So fine, so that meeting has not been scheduled yet. And if you haven't gotten, have you sent out a doodle request for that one, Joe?
No, because I just got Dennis's availability this morning, so
Okay, fine. So
I will be
that's,
sending that out. And I wanted to close this one too, so people don't confuse the two.
okay.
No.
And will you do me a favor and contact Virginia and at this point Noel, who's having IT issues, by phone or some other method to make sure that they're aware of what's going on. I
Yes,
don't think Virginia's
I'll send
checking.
out an email to everybody telling them that we're going to have the meeting at 9:30.
Yeah,
Can I make a point? I find, like the meeting we've had now, I'm just on the telephone, but since we all know each other, we know our voices and so forth, I feel like I'm perfectly part of the conversation without having all the Zoom stuff. So if someone's having trouble with Zoom or with their computer, encourage them just to use the phone.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we will. I'll remind people if they could just call in.
All right. Now, the other question is are we going to be by ourselves, or is Sam going to join us?
I wasn't
It's
inviting
Friday.
Sam unless people want to.
No,
No,
I would prefer not to, but that's my
Okay.
personal
I
preference.
wasn't planning to.
Okay. Just
My
double
preference
checking.
would be to meet alone without Sam.
I agree not to include him right now.
Yeah, I do too.
Joe, why don't you take down your screen share calendar? I don't think we need that. There we go. Hi. Oh,
Making
man.
the meeting out now.
I'm encouraging everybody to write down their notes and their specific questions so that we can get through Friday's meeting as productively as possible. I've already talked to Joe and John and Joan and Susan individually. Wasn't a meeting. So I have some sense of what the concerns are, and I think we're all pretty much on the same table with what's bothering us. But let's make sure we get all of our concerns written down clearly so that when we do meet with Dennis, we're very specific. I don't know what there's no need for me to go into any more detail at this point.
Would you
Any
mind-
other questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I
would you
have a
mind just
request.
sharing?
I'm sorry, Angus?
I was just going to ask if you would mind sharing some of those common concerns.
The ones that we'll be discussing on Friday?
Yeah.
Um,
We don't have to get into a
Basically-
conversation, just share them.
all right, I will go into depth about why I feel, and I will speak for me until there's a consensus, that of the partners that are going to be involved with this, I don't trust one of our partners. And that's a bad way to go into any kind of an agreement or consolidation, or call it whatever you want. And we can go into the details of why I don't trust, but I think most of them have to do with idle promises and no money. And Extra Mile is a perfect example of that.
As well as Route 81.
And Route 81, I don't trust that that will continue to be funded either. I also am aware that there are other sources of funding. If you want to look into CARE Act, for example, where we have gotten some money for operations, I'm concerned that that money is in the billions and that it could very, very well be put into a vault right now, earmarked specifically and only for us, and for $29 million or whatever it takes to put these two facilities together, and that money not be touched unless we decide we don't want it, because we're not going to go forward down the road. But I would like CARE Act money to be put aside. It's the best faith and it doesn't hurt anybody. That's what's on my agenda. I also, and I know I voice other people's concerns, that this is a feather in the cap for DOT, for Dennis. It's something they want. I still ask the question, what's in it for us? And I have grave concerns about lending our operations people to Middletown for the next 2 years without compensation on the table that's more than adequate, et cetera, et cetera. That's where I'm coming from.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Joe, could I ask, could you please resend our latest prioritized list that we had discussed at our Essex meeting? Because I have two files which were not dated, and I'm not sure which one was the latest one.
Yes, I will do that, and along with the questions from the study.
Joe, what you should do is send everyone what you're going to send Joan, so we all have a fresh start.
Exactly, I wanted
Thank
to
you.
send everybody.
Yeah, I'll include it with the agenda.
Okay.
Everyone also has comments from those of us who were able to write things down, so we can also use those as kind of a roadmap about the specifics.
And you'll send those to us again, Susan?
Yeah.
You want me to sit around again?
Joe's got
I
them.
just attached, I was going to send out what the summary that the consultant did with all the
Okay.
comments.
All
Right,
right,
yeah,
great.
Joe has all of our comments on one
Yeah, she combined it all.
consolidation.
Oh, great, great. The other thing,
So-
Good.
Okay, now I personally have two questions. One is, one of the individuals from Middletown asked the question about maintaining the services and so forth that are currently delivered without any, being able to maintain the services. And Joe, I don't want an answer this afternoon, but I think when we talk on Friday, if you'll tell us how do we ensure that we are delivering the services that Middletown is currently delivering to its customers? Because that's a specific question a board member gave, and I think we ought to be prepared to answer that.
Yeah, well, I think he was really saying more that they want to make sure that the shoreline gets all the service it's getting today.
He actually mentioned that maybe the way I heard him, maybe I didn't hear it right.
He
He was
said
wondering
both.
about Middletown, but it's going both ways.
I heard the
'cause in
same
past
as you,
board
Ken.
meetings- In
What?
past meetings, he's been very specific that he was concerned about making sure that this region still gets it, since they're getting the facilities up there, that this region still has all the same service it has today, if not better.
All right. Now,
But
the
either
number
way,
two,
I mean, it should be that way.
right.
You know,
Number
the agreement
two,
should be that anything is an addition. We're not expected to use any existing money to fund this.
okay. The second is that I think I may be the only person on the board that's read the new services report that's coming out. Because you gave me an early copy. Maybe
Okay.
Leslie has it too, but I don't think everyone on the board, and I think all I'm asking for you is for Friday. Listen, we don't want to turn out another 500-page document for people to read, which never gets read. But if there's something that in that report you think is very important that we all have, if you could just spend 5 minutes briefing us on that, that would be something that would fill a hole from our knowledge from this report, which hasn't come out yet.
Is this a report that the consultant wrote?
Yes, it came out a while ago. It's been up on the drive for a couple months.
Oh,
So hopefully some others have seen it, but they also offered,
are you comfortable, Joe, that it is accurate and representative?
I think they're good. I think there's some good ideas in there. And at this point, that's all it is ideas. And the next step was to go back out for public comment and see what the public thought were the priorities. And we haven't been able to do that, obviously.
Okay.
Joe, can you send us that just as a PDF so we don't have to go on the drive?
I think it's too large. There's a lot of images in it.
So can I just go back to the one you gave me 3 months ago?
Yeah, it hasn't changed.
Okay.
Because we haven't been able to do the next step,
All right.
which was to kind of, get what the public sees as a priority and then come down to, come with these are the top priorities based on what we heard from the public. So, but what the consultant did offer to have a separate session just for them to review with us the service recommendations, which they had offered to do this past session. I said, I think we should keep them separate because I figured there'd be enough to discuss just on this final report, and then have a session dedicated just to service improvements. So if we want to schedule that, we could schedule that too.
Let's wait till after Friday's meeting.
Yes, so I was going to say, just let me know when you think is a proper time to schedule that. But we can do that and have them walk us through it.
I had just one more comment on the meeting on Friday for just the board, which is in addition to discussing the various specific concerns some of us have, I think the goal of that meeting is to come out with a consensus about a strategy on how to deal with Dennis.
Right, and what we're asking for.
Exactly.
Right. It's really to begin I think it's to begin the negotiation part. You know, it's kind of separate from the study. The study is the study. We're kind of wrapping that up, but now is negotiation time and figure out what we want to get in our negotiations.
Well, beyond that, piggybacking on Susan's comments, I mean, I'm 1 inch away from one of my famous letters to every legislator we own, out of frustration. So you may want to rein me in on Friday.
Well,
I think it's a first one too.
Joe,
Yep.
I think specifically we need to be prepared, and I think you're the right person to prepare us on Friday. Is who else, in addition to Dennis, got to be on the Connecticut DOT side of the table? Because clearly he doesn't represent or have the stature to represent the total DOT.
Well, yeah, what Joe has been saying is that basically on the capital side, there's no problem, but it's getting operating funds. And if Dennis is the one promising us operating funds, but he can't get them, there's got to be somebody else.
Well, he should be
Yeah,
able
we
to.
need to know who the decider is.
Yeah, who's the
Deciders, or
decider?
however that is, but I like the word decider, but knowing that we may fall back to deciders.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so the meeting is now, you should have a Zoom
Well,
email about Friday's meeting. Joe has just sent that out. That's a good thing. Thank you.
I mean, maybe one of the, maybe that's one of the questions with that really is who needs to be in the room. I mean, it's the question is not. I mean, I know who the main deciders are. The question is, whose toes we step on asking for people like the deputy commissioner to be involved. But that's supposedly the deputy commissioner I've been told the deputy commissioner has approved everything.
Well, we don't want to step on Dennis's toes and run the risk of, I don't know, of hitting his ego and alienating
And
him.
retaliation.
Yeah, we don't want retaliation, but at the same token, we do want action. And there's got to be some way of getting this guy off his ass, pardon me.
Well, so I think that might be the question: is who do we need to get to the table? Are you the one person who should be at the table? Should we have others at the table? And we can say it in a way that's respectful, because the fact of the matter is, he does not control capital. He does not control facilities and land acquisition, and those are all.
Joey doesn't seem to control anything. If this guy can't come up with $100,000 for extra mile,
Well, he controls operating.
they wanted, where is he going to come up with several $100,000 for each of these districts on an ongoing basis? It's just
What do
silly.
you mean several $100,000? It's 25 or 30 million.
Well, but that's the
Well, that's
capital.
That's the
But
capital.
he told me today that that's going to be easy to do, and as I said, that's why I said I don't think our board does not believe that that's going to be easy to do, and
Easy to say.
so maybe it's Rich Andreski,
Oh,
but again, do we step on toes by? So I think maybe if we present it as a who else needs to be there to satisfy us all that DOT is really on board with this,
how about our own
because Dennis
personal?
can't promise.
How
because
about
there's
if we
certain
get
areas
our
Dennis
own
can't promise.
consultant, Joe? How about if we bring in our own personal consultant named Mike Sanders?
Yeah,
Oh, we
then you'll
don't
get
want
nothing.
Mike.
You'll get nothing at all then.
Yeah, well,
Um,
he's wearing a different hat now. so-
No, this
No,
reminds me.
nothing against Mike, but no, from the DOT side, that would not go over well.
Okay, fine.
This reminds me, Joe, of a lot of comments about people in West Texas. Big hat, but little cattle.
Well, so that's why I think, I mean, if we ask it as how do we, since you don't represent 2 of the 3 areas that we need to know are moving here, are all in agreement here, how do we get those areas represented? I think we'd feel more comfortable if someone like Rich Andreski, maybe wasn't involved all along, but at least committed to us as a group, his support.
Well, at least
for
we
the
know that
project.
Rick Andrusky is a great friend of Leslie's.
Oh, yeah, my best buddy. We're like this. Yeah. Don't
Well, the
But,
even
yeah,
other-
but we heard
John.
his commitment to this project because all those people work for him. So,
That's
If
right,
we-
and the other reason why this could work to Dennis's advantage if Andreski was there is Andreski can say to all of us, Dennis has I have delegated to Dennis my approval to
Yep.
do various things, and that will pump him up and
Mhm.
make him feel a little more the chosen one.
yeah, so I think if we ask it correctly, we can get a good answer that makes everyone happy and
Yeah.
get the commitment we need. But we just gotta.
Joe, we're counting on your diplomacy because Leslie and I and some others maybe don't feel so diplomatic about this. So you go for it.
Yeah, I will.
You have
I'll bring it up
you have our full faith, Joe.
But this is all part of the discussion we want to come out of on Friday.
Right.
You know, if I could speak to Friday's meeting, as I mentioned at the Finance Committee meeting, and Susan emphasized it a few minutes ago, I'd like to stress again to make sure that in Friday's meeting, we not just have just a broad consensus, but as we're going through each of the individual topics and the answers that are given, and to make sure for each of those topics, if you just did a general question, are we all in agreement on what the answer is, or are we all happy with what the answer is or not? I think that's important that we as a board really identify whether we're in agreement or not in agreement or still have concerns. That's it.
Well said. Well said, Joan.
One last comment. Angus, you mentioned earlier you want to know what our discussions were with Leslie. In addition to a couple of comments that Leslie had made, I also just indicated my frustration and dismay that at the beginning of this process, when we had the meeting in Westbrook, that we were told unequivocally that nothing was cast in concrete, that yes, we could vote to stay the same or to merge. And actually, in reality, that is not the case, because the merger is thrust upon us whether we want it or not in order to maintain good standing with DOT and receive funding from them. So that was my comment that I strongly expressed.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, well, again, we're probably gonna go over all of this in more detail on Friday. Please mark down 9:30 Friday morning. So we can all get together, bring your questions, and take a look at the notes that Joe has already sent to you, so that, you know, we can get through all this without too much crying. Anything else? The
Nope.
agenda for today shows that our next meeting, which is our regularly scheduled meeting, will be on the 19th. That is still on the table. In spite of the fact that we've got 2 or 3 meetings between now and then, that's still on the agenda. So if there's no other new business or old business, a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion, we adjourned.
Okay, all in favor, thank you very much. And
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
thank you for putting this together. Helena, great budget. Have a
Thank you.
lovely afternoon. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.